Well, thank you, Louis. Before I start, I came across something about the Tea Party that John Adams had written in his diary. As many of you may know, I kicked off the campaign on the 240th anniversary of the Tea Party, which was December 16th. And so the entry I'm going to read is from John Adams' diary the day after, December 17th. So he writes, "This is the most magnificent movement of all. There's a dignity, a majesty, a sublimity in the last effort of the patriots that I greatly admire. The people should never rise without doing something to be remembered, something notable and striking. This destruction of the tea is so bold, so daring, so firm, intrepid and inflexible, and it must have so important consequences and so lasting." So John Adams got it. And we get it. A lot of people don't get what the Tea Party is all about. We just have to educate them, that's all. We don't have to back down from any of this. So what I'd like to do today is talk a little bit about where things stand legally. As you know, we're challenging, unfortunately, in court, what happened at the convention. And then I'll go on a little bit about the campaign and how we win. At the convention, those of you who were there, we witnessed a lot of things. But the first thing that we all witnessed, something very dramatic. We all, in addition to the state party leadership, placed our hands over our hearts, and we pledged allegiance to a republic that had liberty and justice for all. Justice for all. And then what happened was a lot of grave injustices. And sad to say, that's why I'm in court. It's justice for all. Some of you witnessed some of these things, and I don't have to repeat them, but for those of you who weren't there, I'll mention what happened. Things that we know. So for example, we know we have a handful of people who are willing to testify in sworn affidavits that their votes for me were marked as votes for Baker. They were able to witness how those votes were marked and were able to change them. But as you know how the voting went, some of these districts are 100 people deep. So it begs the question, how many people voted for Fisher weren't able to see how those votes were marked? We have people to testify to that. We also have people who are not in Boston that day, and we know that their votes were marked either for blank or for Baker. We also have people that were not in the state of Massachusetts whose votes were marked either for Baker or for blank. This is not hardball politics. This is voter fraud. This is what it is. And it's sad to say that a court of law has to decide this. We also have Fisher supporters that were there that day. And like Louis said, it was his first time being at a convention. Somebody goes to the convention, they talk about voting. Our only experience of voting is you go to a poll, and it's private. He didn't know how the voting took place. The voting had already happened. He wasn't even in his district. When he came back and said, "When are we going to vote?" he was told, "Well, we already voted." And he said, "What are you talking about? I wanted to vote for Fisher." They said, "Don't worry about it. We voted for you the way that we all pledged for Charlie Baker." And he said, "Well, I wanted to vote for Fisher. What can I?" There was nothing he could do about it. That's a proxy vote. In the rules, proxy votes are not allowed. So we have him. He's willing to do a sworn affidavit. This is going to be presented in court. I cannot believe that the state party wants to have this come out in the public. This is the only path that's open to us. This is the only reason I'm going down it. We've tried every other thing possible to avoid this, and the state party has forced our hands to do it in this manner. That's what happened during the voting. In the roll call vote that you see, we have a video posted at our website or Facebook page. You can see the total counts. And no matter how you count those 10 blank votes, either counting them or not counting them, I have more than 15%, after our vote was suppressed in the means that I just talked about. Then after the roll call vote, the 10 blank votes increased to 64. 54 more blanks were added somehow. We have not got an answer to that question yet. In the back room, we challenged additional votes that wanted to be added as blanks, about 30 of them. So the total would have been closer to 100 blank votes. And based on challenges that we made to 2 Senate districts, that blank vote was only 64. As part of that challenge, we brought in the state committee men from those 2 districts. And they were asked, with representatives from both camps in the Mass GOP, why did you mark these people blank? We knew that they weren't there. And they said, we were told to mark those blank. They didn't say who told them to do that. That'll come out in a court of law as well. The parliamentarian did the right thing, and he disallowed those blank votes. Then my attorney asked, okay, we want to see the other 38 districts. We were stopped. And when they said we would be on a fishing expedition, that would be a recount. We weren't going to be allowed to do that. And when we pointed out, you just did it for 2 districts, that didn't matter. In a court of law, it will matter. So last week we were in court three days. I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. We were in court today. We will be back in court on Friday, where the state GOP will have their motion heard to dismiss the case. And we hope that common sense prevails and the case is not dismissed. Then next Tuesday, the court will hear an injunction from our side to have this speedily decided in our favor. If that doesn't happen, then they'll start hearing testimony, and you'll start to hear state committee people testify to this. One last thing. There is a Baker supporter. He's also the chairman of the Rules Committee. You may have seen his written piece in the Boston Globe where he says he believes in our favor that the blanks don't count. He's the chairman of the Rules Committee. But he's also a Baker supporter. So we begin to wonder, why does a Baker supporter side with us, also chairman of the Rules Committee? It appears that he is one of the state committee men to have marked someone blank or Baker who wasn't there that day in Boston. So it would appear that he doesn't want that to come out in the court of law. He wants this thing stopped before it gets to court. Let's have the blanks not counted. That's where we stand on the legal challenge. Now a little bit about the campaign and why we win. I've always said, you've heard me say that the Democrats own this state. When I first announced, that is what people told me and gave us evidence how I could not win. That you're a Republican, that you're a Tea Party member, that you're a conservative. This is a blue state. It's run by the Democrats. You have no chance. You have no chance. And my response was, the same reason you're giving me for losing is the exact same reason I can win. If the Democrats were doing so well, they would be exactly right. But all these problems in Massachusetts, because the Democrats own the state, they own all the problems. They can't blame Republicans for anything. And so what a wonderful time to be a Republican and offer solutions. Even Democrats in blue states have voted for Republicans who've stood up for conservative principles because they're providing solutions. If you look at Governor Scott Walker and the mess that he inherited, right? Millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in debt, and in 3 years, even after fighting a recall, he's turned that state around and created a $1 billion surplus that he's giving back to the people of Wisconsin. And these are Democrats who voted for him. If you go to Governor Scott Walker's website, he's no Big Tent politician. He's a full platform Republican. What do I mean by that? Go to his website, and under values, he says, him and his wife are 100% pro-life. We had a very well-known politician in this state boycott our convention because we added language by a margin of more than 3-1 by the state committee that says every instance of abortion is tragic. By more than 3-1. We have politicians running away from that. 4 years ago, when Charlie Baker said that he was frustrated that people didn't understand that he was left of Obama on social issues. Now, that's not bad enough. Now that he distances himself from that language, you know whose language that is? That's Hillary Clinton's language. She used that language. Now he's left of Hillary, and he wants to run as a Republican. There is a strategy. It's in Massachusetts, from the leadership on down, that we run and possibly win in Massachusetts by running as Democrat light. It's called the Big Tent. They're not afraid of saying so. I'm so against that because it's against the wisdom of Lincoln. We cannot please all the people all the time. We do not win elections by winning 100% of the people. We win by winning the majority. And we win the majority like Scott Walker won the majority. We stand on a full platform. We enunciate clearly what we believe, and we appeal to everyone, right? We appeal to everyone, knowing full well we can't please everyone. But our message is the right one, and it appeals to the minds and the hearts, and it resonates in the minds and the hearts with the majority of voters. That's what we're after. And even if Democrats don't believe in everything we believe in, they'll respect us for saying so, and not running away from it, and not waffling. And they will vote for us because we're providing solutions. The Democrats own all the problems. Since 1960, when they first took over the State House and held majorities, we had 12 congressional seats. We had 12 seats down in Washington. Under their control, that number has dwindled to 11, and to 10, and now to 9. This is a Democrat problem. With EBT cards, and a Democrat has shown us, a Democrat auditor, there are $400 million in abuse and fraud each and every year, and that we give EBT cards to over 1,000 dead people. This is not a Republican problem. This is a Democrat problem. And with food stamps, under Deval Patrick, according to the USDA, when he took office, there were fewer than 450,000 people on food stamps. In the State of the State address, he didn't mention this, but under his tenure, that number has grown. It's doubled. There are now more than 900,000 people on food stamps. This is a Democrat problem. When I talk about these problems, I'm not talking about eliminating food stamps or eliminating EBT cards. I've been on unemployment 5 times myself. I know what transitional assistance means. It means transitioning people from unemployment to work, not transitioning unemployment from generation to generation to generation. I have supporters who just now had to go on food stamps. These programs are for the needy, not for the greedy, not for people who abuse them. When I talk about these programs, I'm talking about eliminating the abuse and the fraud. About 2 years ago, during the last presidential cycle, Vice President Joe Biden told a black audience that if Republicans Romney and Ryan were elected, they would all be put back in chains. As bad as that is, the thing that bothered me most was there was no Republican response. We're punching bags. We take it on the chin. You know, Biden almost got it right. What do I mean by that? The Democrats have this problem. They want to talk about jobs. Who doesn't want to talk about jobs? But they know that the single biggest thing that turns a Democrat into a Republican is a paycheck. We see how big our taxes are and how small our take-home pay is. So what's a Democrat to do? They want to talk about jobs, but they don't want to give people paychecks. They make entitlement programs so enticing that they take away for the majority of people the incentive to look for work, right? They take away the God-given right for them to pursue happiness. They make them dependent on the government, on the Democrat-controlled government. What have they done? They've re-enslaved people. They've put people back in chains, fiscal chains. You know, when we won the Civil War, we went into the South, we got together and we asked black ministers, what do the freed slaves need? And what they said is they need land. Why? To be productive. They wanted land. This expression, 40 acres and a mule, this is where it came from. They didn't want a handout. They didn't want money. They wanted land. We're a different type of society now. Land is not what we give people. We give people jobs. Jobs is what people need, not handouts. So the Democrats have made people dependent on them for exchange for their votes. It's plain and simple. We're talking about giving people back the right to pursue their own happiness through a good-paying job. Jobs, the pursuit of happiness. This is the Republican way of doing things. The Democrats want to tax us more and give their voter bloc more benefits. That's the Democrat way of doing things. Why are the Democrats so much for illegal immigration? Why do they want to give out in-state tuition? Why do they want to give out driver's licenses? They're hoping that the Republicans down in Washington become so cowardly and cave in and give amnesty because that becomes their next big voting bloc. And if that happens, we'll never get a Republican elected again. They don't care about illegal immigrants. They care about their votes. I've told many of you before, I have a small business. 2 of my employees have their green cards. They're not U.S. citizens. They've come here, they stood in line, they've waited their turn, they've played by the rules. And if you ever want to find a group of people more against illegal immigration, it's those who came here legally. These are the heroes. These are the people we should be talking about. The solution to this problem, and it's a huge problem. It's a huge financial problem as well, right? $1.9 billion is taken from your wallets and your pocketbooks each and every year and given to those, rewarded to those who break the law. So the typical government solution would be create another big government bureaucracy, right? Hire a bunch of government employees, pay them very well, give them great perks, give them a great pension, and have them hunt down illegals, jail them, and hope that the federal government would deport them. That's not at all what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a common sense solution. The reason that illegal immigrants come here is for the benefits. They know that they can get more benefits in the state of Massachusetts than they could if they went to Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, or Maine combined. That's why they come to Massachusetts. It's a sanctuary state. The Democrats have made it that way. It's all by design. That's the way we solve the problem. We turn off the benefits, and what happens? Illegal immigrants are only illegal. They're not dumb. They will go to the next big blue state, whether it be New York or California, to receive their benefits. But it won't be under Massachusetts, under my governorship. Illegal immigration becomes illegal. Nothing hard about this concept. We just do it. We turn off the benefit magnet. The jobs, the creation of jobs. The government doesn't create jobs. But it can do very bad things that pushes jobs outside of Massachusetts. And so how do we create jobs in Massachusetts? 4-point program. Right now, businesses leave Massachusetts for a number of reasons. One is the state corporate tax. So what do? We make it comparable to those states that these jobs go to, so they won't leave. There's this tax magnet that draws them away. There's also overburdensome rules and regulations. There's a machine shop in Worcester, Mass. It happens to be owned by the leader or the head of the Tea Party, and you wonder sometimes whether he wasn't targeted for this. But the Department of Environmental Protection came into his business and fined him $7,000 because his sign that said hazardous material didn't say hazardous waste. And rather than give him the 30 seconds to change it, they fined him $7,000. I know another machine shop that was fined $25,000 because he couldn't generate a manifest for the waste oil that his fork truck generated each and every time it was changed out. It was changed out by a company that comes in and tunes it up, changes the belts, changes the oil. He thought it was their responsibility. The DEP said, no, it's your responsibility. $25,000 fine. He doesn't have that kind of money lying around. So he fought it and fought it and fought it. It was reduced to between $3,000 and $5,000 if he made a donation to his local police or fire department. This is what businesses have to deal with in the state of Massachusetts. It is extortion. It is extortion. One other thing. With regard to businesses coming here to Massachusetts, you've heard the old adage in real estate, location, location, location. Massachusetts is in an ideal location in New England. 3 New England states to our north, 2 to our south. New York is to our left. By the way, I always want to keep Massachusetts to the right of New York. What does this mean? What does this mean? It's an ideal location for distribution centers. But they don't come here for all the reasons I mentioned before, and also there's a thing in Massachusetts that we have called an inventory tax. If you're a small business owner, you know what I'm talking about. Not all the states have them. This is death. This is death to a distribution center. We eliminate the inventory tax. It generates about $200 million. Sounds like a lot of money, right? That's only half the money that we waste every year in the EBT card system. We fix that. We don't have to worry about any lost revenue from the inventory tax. But then that will be a magnet for distribution centers to come here. And what does that mean? It means material handling jobs. It means logistics jobs. It means admin jobs. And it means truck drivers bringing material in and bringing material out of distribution centers that serve all of New England from the centrally located state of Massachusetts. These are things that are easy to do. It's what Walker did in Wisconsin. We can do it here in Massachusetts. Lastly, to close, we lost the Battle of Bunker Hill. And we lost it only because we ran out of ammunition. I've said to you before, we've lost political races recently. Why? Not for lack of ammo. We have all these problems that are Democrat problems, and if a Republican will stand up and be a Republican and point these out and make the Democrats own the problems they've created, how can we not win? How can we not win? But we haven't had candidates with the willingness, resolve, or the backbone to do just that. And I haven't seen those candidates. That's why I'm a candidate. That's why I'm running. The Democrat Party is afraid of that. They haven't seen anyone stand up like that. Sadly to say, our own Republican Party is afraid of that because we're challenging the status quo. But I'm talking about winning. I'm not talking about keeping certain people in leadership positions in the GOP. So right now, the Mass state leadership would hope that through this lawsuit, maybe I run out of ammo, right? Maybe my financial resources dwindle down. But we're going to fight them. I talk about illegal immigration, and I say I don't want to give driver's licenses and in-state tuition to them. Why? Because we reward bad behavior. If we take what happened at the convention lying down, we reward the bad behavior of the Mass state leadership. That's why I'm fighting this. I need your help. Our signature sheets are here. Please sign them tonight. If you can take them home to your towns and cities and get people to sign, that would be a great help for us. They're due in about a month from now. That's the next big hurdle after the legal case, which we have all the confidence in the world that we win. And also tonight, if you can afford any kind of financial contribution, that would be greatly appreciated as well. So thank you for your time. Thank you, and God bless. Oh, any questions?
Bill?
I don't suppose there's any chance of those ballots are still locked up in a lockbox somewhere that you could do.
Well, that's a great point, and it was brought up, I think, in court today or a few days ago. At the end of the convention, we made a point of that was going to be the case, and we were told by Ron Kaufman that he personally, that Ron Kaufman would personally assure that those ballots would not be destroyed. And it came up in court either today or a few days ago, and we were assured by the legal representation of the Mass State GOP that they were still available. So.
Mark, I'm a little unclear on why you're getting half those signatures. Is that if you win the court case, do you need those signatures?
Yeah, every state candidate, Charlie, Karen, Frank Adavanola, Mark Allegro, not 10,000, but all statewide candidates, even for U.S. Senate, need 10. It's a state requirement, not a Mass GOP requirement. Yeah.
How many do you need, Mark?
We need 10,000 certified, and the people that are in the business that collect them say that would probably mean about 17,000, 18,000 raw, because some people get
disqualified and stuff. So. Is it true they charge you $25,000 to to appear?
That's old news. Yeah, they charged us $25,000 back on January 19th, which happened to be my birthday. It was a wonderful birthday present, by the way. And we paid it on January 31st. Interesting thing about that, I took a few reporters into where they put us in the convention center. We had a locker room. You know, for $25,000, you thought we could have a little bit better accommodations. But the Baker camp had this palatial suite of offices. It was just wonderful. You know, maybe he paid a little bit more than $25,000, but I haven't seen any evidence of that.
And you didn't get any music when you got up on
Yeah,
stage.
yeah,
No
yeah.
music.
Yeah, some people don't have great speeches, have to have music to sort of prop it up.
Well,
You know?
that's
In a big tent.
In a big tent after.
You're right.
Column.
Have you and your family prepared yourself for the mudslinging and
Yeah.
the misspeaking that might occur?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about that going into this, and boy, oh boy, up until the convention, a lot of strange things happened on the way to the campaign. You'll see my push cards here. That's one of the first things we had printed, the smaller ones. When we went to the printer told us that he was told that if he did any work for the Fisher campaign, he would never get any future work for the Mass State Republican Party. That was the first evidence of mudslinging, I think. But that's hardball politics. So we've been laughing at it ever since. And we think the fact that they forced us into this court case, I'm sort of laughing at this. Why would they ever want to do such a thing? You know, someone said it earlier, the party's run by little kids. And it really shows itself now. So,
Because we made all three Democrats vote.
I think I can satisfy that for you in two ways. One, at a Christmas party, I met Scott Brown, and there were three of us at a bar, and he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand this at all. He doesn't think, and the Mass State GOP doesn't think this either, that he doesn't think that the Tea Party is big enough to matter. And that by moving to the center and losing the Tea Party, he still thinks he can win elections. And so does the Mass State GOP. That's the first part. The second part is this. Scott Brown goes to Washington. He moves to the Senate to supposedly expand his base. I say that the Democrats own the state politically, but you're right. We own the state. People have said, when you get to Boston, you know, what are you going to do on Beacon Hill? How are you going to get things passed? How are you going to work with the Democrats? Reaching across the aisle, I think, is so overrated. Why would I want to work with the Democrats who've created all these problems? I'm offering solutions. So what do? If I win the corner office, right, you guys will have voted for me. I'm going there with some political capital. I'm not making any overtures to the Democrats. I'm reaching across the Boston Common, and I'm working with the common people. And if the Democrats want to work with the common people, by default, we'll work together. But if they don't want to work for the common people, then they'll be targeted. When their time comes up for re-election, they'll be out, and a Republican or a conservative Democrat will be in who works with the common people.
That's the answer I wanted.
Thanks for giving me the chance to say it. Yes.
I'm concerned. Why do you want to be a Republican? Why,
Yeah.
if you don't win, or why would you not run as an independent, a conservative?
Well, that's a great question. On the Facebook page, a lot of people have been asking the same thing. You know, run as a write-in, run as an independent, run as a Tea Party candidate. Forget about the Democrats. You saw what they did at the convention. And my answer is this. I think anybody can run as an independent. Anybody can run as a Tea Party candidate. Anybody can run a write-in campaign. And I think it does two things. I think it gets your message out there, and I think it continues the fight. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think you can win. Given the way things are now, this is the way it is. I think you can't win without being a Democrat or a Republican. These are the two major parties. Look at this. In the last poll that I was in, I took 30% against Martha Coakley. If you added up all the independents, they didn't come to, 20%. They're better well-known than I am. They're better funded than I am. But when people want to vote, they want to vote for the D or the R. Maybe they'll get a certain percentage, like Tim Cahill did, but it's about winning. I want to win. And that's the reason I'm running as a Republican. In a full platform Republican. It's the party of Reagan. You know, it's not...
Take it over. Take it back.
Well, that's
what we want.
that's part of this. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Take it over.
That's exactly right.
Staff would change it to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. Chris?
Yeah.
Bless you. Thank you.
One of the arguments that I've heard recently is that your case belongs with the state committee as opposed to in the court system. What is the, based on what you've seen and heard and your legal counsel and advice that you've received, what is the proper court of jurisdiction? Obviously, you feel like the courts are the right way to go. Have you tried appealing directly to the state committee?
Yeah, everything else we've tried hasn't worked. I've heard that argument too. I don't think the Mass GOP agrees with it. I mean, my goodness, the state committee voted more than 3-1 for the new platform that I'm standing on, and their nominee is running away from it. I don't think they would want it to be adjudicated there.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you too. I'm just curious because that's what I've heard just through some of the
Yeah, it's.
that I have.
Problem is the leader makes the decisions.
Yeah.
Mark?
Mark?
Have you been able to connect with Jeff Cooner or like Fox News, any of the people on Fox News? Have you been able to get your message out that way?
Yeah, well, early on we were with Sharman Sacchetti. There's an interview that's on our website with that. I've been on Cooner twice. He actually proposed a debate between Charlie and myself, which never happened. Went on Howie Carr for a little bit last week. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten more national attention with national Tea Party groups. We've reached out to some. If this court case goes the way it does, I think that'll be a huge boost for us. Probably an unexpected boost, but that's the way this whole campaign's been run actually. So we'll have to wait and see. A lot is hinging on the court case.
Are you aware that there are some Republican representatives that are true Republicans wanting to help, and that you should probably touch base with them?
Oh,
You haven't already.
yeah, it's an interesting thing. I have, and I agree with you. They're sort of secret admirers. They can't come out and endorse me because they need the state party the way it exists now, the way things are run now. They need their support and their help. They align with me on issues. One-on-one, they'll tell me that they're backing me, but they can't say it out in front of the party. Some things have to change first before they come on board, fully come on board. But
You're not the
sorry for the word. Thanks, John.